Hey guys, welcome back to Movie Talk. All right, no spoilers first. I really enjoyed this movie. If you really like Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, if you like the DCEU, I really recommend this movie. It is way, way better than Josh Whedon's version. I mean, wow, what a significant difference. Yes, it is 4 hours long, but here's the thing. It is streaming. You don't see this in the theater. You could stream this. You could pause at any time. You could take pee breaks. I took a pee break around the 2 hour point, which is right before Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, and Cyborg are about to fight Steppenwolf for the first time in Gotham Harbor. That's where I took my first pee break, which is around 1 hour and 50 minutes in, and then after that I had to take a pee break again, but at the end of the movie. So yeah, you could watch this at any time, so that's a huge benefit. But yeah, I really love this movie. I really recommend it. Much better than Josh Whedon's version. Okay, so now spoilers. Okay, so it starts off with Superman's death this time. In the original Josh Whedon version, it actually started off with Batman taking down a burglar, and he used him as bait to track down a parademon. And Batman caught the parademon with the net and asked the parademon where you come from, who are you, all that stuff. And then the parademon melts, and then we have the mother box thing on the wall, and then we have this awkward dialogue between the burglar and Batman saying, "Oh, it's because of him, right? Because he's gone." Yeah, that's all Josh Whedon. And I was like, what the hell? Even in the original movie, that felt awkward. Oh, I will say, I'm sorry. Before the Batman part, we had the cell phone footage of Superman with the bad mustache. Yeah, that's obviously not in Zack Snyder's version. So yeah, there's that. So it starts off with Superman's death when he got stabbed by Doomsday with the horn, and then he slammed the kryptonite spear, and Doomsday is being electrified, shooting out sparks and stuff. And at that time, Superman is doing his death yell, which in the Batman v Superman, I'm pretty sure he said "ah" like that, like a normal person who would die. But it kind of sounds like he's saying no. But I guess it's because of the sound effect he's making with the sound waves. So that's why it sounds like he's actually saying no. So it kind of sounds a little weird. But I will say that his death yell goes all over the planet Earth. Cyborg felt it. It activated all the mother boxes in Cyborg's apartment and the Amazons, so it activated that. Then we go straight to Bruce on horseback trying to track down Arthur Curry. And the thing is that I don't think they actually had a timestamp or anything saying a few weeks later, a few months later, a few years later. They don't say anything. So, and it was during the montage of Superman death yell. So that's why I thought that was really, really weird, because it just took us straight to Bruce on horseback, and I was like, really? Okay. Because it took time, it honestly took time with Josh Whedon's version, because after the Batman fighting off the parademon, we see the montage of Superman's death, how it affected everyone. We had that awkward slow-mo shot of a grocery store with two guys kicking fruit up into the ground, up in the air, and the policeman grabbing them and trying to arrest them and stuff. So yeah, that was not a Zack Snyder thing, which was okay. I get it, but it's weird because it was in slow motion. So if Josh Whedon did add that, then yeah, it did not work. I was confused because I was like, why did Zack Snyder choose this one? But it turns out it was actually Josh. So I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Or Zack Snyder did film that. He just decided not to use it. Either way, good choice, because that was really awkward. I mean, out of all things you could show in the montage of Superman's death, you want to show like, two guys, kicking up fruit. That's it. I felt like you should show a lot more than that to show like the world is in chaos because of that. So yeah, that's how the Josh Whedon version started. Then we get to Arthur Curry, And it's really interesting because the dialogue is almost the same. The shots are almost the same in both versions, but clearly you could tell that Ben Affleck is definitely skinnier than he was in the Josh Whedon version, and also the hair makes looks better. It kind of looks like a wig in the Josh Whedon version, but the dialogue is very similar. Talking about, I need to speak to this man. He came in last night. He didn't come by boat and stuff. But in Zack Snyder's version, he never jokes about, can you talk to fish? He doesn't see the drawings of Aquaman with the 3 mother boxes. He doesn't ask about the mother boxes because, of course, he doesn't know about the mother boxes. So he knows that's Arthur Curry because he saw the surveillance footage, so he knows who he is. And then when Arthur grabbed him and slammed him against the wall, Bruce takes out money, and then Arthur lowers him down, which is different from Josh's version because he keeps bringing up, can you talk to fish? Yeah, there was nothing like that in here. Then it cuts to them outside talking about, oh, so you're the Batman, which I was confused at first because I was like, oh, I thought that was a Josh Whedon dialogue, but no, that's actually Zack Snyder. So I was like, oh, okay, interesting. But then when he gets to Aquaman taking off his shirt and they're talking about strong man is strongest alone, then I realized that the Josh Whedon added a line of dialogue. Bruce was saying, oh, that's not how the saying goes. That was in the Josh Whedon version. In the Zack Snyder, he doesn't say that. He just says that, remember Superman? He died. And so, yeah, and there is no awkward green screen close-up of Aquaman that you could tell is definitely in the Josh version. No, it's just a medium shot of Jason Momoa taking off his shirt, going into the water, and is about to dive off. That's it. You don't see an awkward close-up of his face and then going backwards, and you could definitely tell that's a green screen. There's none of that. However, in Zack's version, here's the thing. I would think I would cut it, but I'm not exactly sure if I would because the women were singing in some kind of like a Icelandic, they were singing some kind of Icelandic song. And it goes on for a while, like at least a minute. And it's a pretty long minute too. With one of the girls, even though she is cute, she goes over to Arthur's sweater that he got rid of and smelled it. And I was like, okay, this is weird. If I know the lyrics of the song, and if it makes sense, then I can forgive this. But honestly, I kind of felt like this should be cut. I don't know why this had to be in it, but again, I don't know the lyrics of the song. It might make some sense. But the thing is that even though I had subtitles on, there were no lyrics that you could check up and stuff, so I have no idea what they're talking about. Either singing about, either they're singing about Aquaman, or they could be singing about sweaters. I don't know. It's just a little weird. I feel like they should cut it, but I'm not gonna really say that because I just need to know what the song is about, what it means. Then, if it makes sense, it makes sense. But I will say, the woman smelling the sweater was a bit weird. It really does. And then, so that was a Zack Snyder thing. Okay, so then we go to, all right, that was, I already talked about Aquaman, the singing sweater. Oh yeah, so Bruce meets up with Alfred outside of the plane. So Bruce arrives on a helicopter and then talks to Alfred, and that was not in the Josh Whedon version. In the Josh Whedon version, he's already on the plane, he was shaving and talking, and then they talk about the wind-up penguins. But this time, no, we see them about to get on the plane, and then it cuts to the Wonder Woman rescue in London. Yeah, I believe it was London. And wow, there are two very big differences between the scenes. Okay, so yes, we do have, it's mostly the same shots, but it's edited differently, and it was shot a bit differently too. I mean, cropped differently, I mean, because of the 4:3 aspect ratio, we could see more vertically. And And even though the length of it, the width of it doesn't change, but the height of it changed, and we could see a lot more this time. And also because this movie is rated R, they did add some more stuff. So and the scenes are actually extended. It doesn't feel like it was cut awkwardly. So when the bad guys were getting out of the vans, and then we see one security guard actually about to shoot them, to stop them, then the main bad guy shoots him in the head. He falls to the ground, and you see blood on the ground. So I was like, oh, that is interesting. They actually showed it off. And then you see him killing even more guys. There's blood and stuff, and I was like, wow, this is edited very well. They took their time with it too. It's not like cut. No, they show him walking, killing people, the camera slowly panning, and yeah, they take their time with it. So even though it's not like the shots are like many seconds long, but no, there's like a second extended or a couple seconds extended, and it looks better. It feels better too. And then when they were showing Wonder Woman for the first time, when she was on top of the statue looks so much better here because of the color grading. Because for some reason in the Joss Whedon version, everything looked too bright. So when you see the gold on the gold statue, it was shining so brightly, and it looks incredibly bad. It looks really, really bad. And then, but when you see the Zack Snyder cut, you're like, oh, the statue actually looks fine. You can, yes, you can tell it's CG, but honestly, doesn't look distractingly bad. So, Wonder Woman, grabs the guy with the lasso, and then, she gets more dialogue out of, she, asks, what's happening and stuff, who are you, and, too boring and all that stuff, and then she busts in through the doors. And here's the funny thing about the Wonder Woman in this. Even though I love her, I really do. Every single time she's about to do a big action scene, in the background, you hear the woman going, ah! Something like that. Something you would hear in like Gladiator or even 300 with a woman singing that kind of note, tone, something like that. So yeah, almost every single time Wonder Woman does something epic, right before she does that, in slow motion usually, you hear that music. So it's not once, it's a lot. But you do hear the you do hear that because Junkie XL is back. Tom Hulkenberg, he is back. So yeah, and wow, when Wonder Woman was kicking ass, it looked better, it felt better, it was paced better, even though it's basically the same thing. So when Wonder Woman was just dashing all around, basically she was like a Feora from Man of Steel. Like it's almost like she's teleporting all over the place, but you could tell she's just jumping incredibly quickly, but it looked like she teleported. So she's slamming guys into walls and stuff like that. There's blood on the walls because she slammed them so hard. Oh my god. And she was doing everything so quickly too, compared to in Joss Whedon's version, where it felt like she was much slower. And the time is like, even though it says like 15 seconds, it just doesn't feel like 15 seconds because it's in slow motion, so it feels very slow. But here, she's like going all over the place. She grabs the bomb and then goes outside the building this time. In the Joss Whedon version, she was still inside the building. She was just like on just the upper floor, and then she throws it outside the window, and then it explodes, and then she comes back down to stop the bullet. But this time, she actually goes all the way outside the building to throw it in the air, and she got hit by the explosion, the blast of the explosion, or the shockwave. I'm sorry. And then when we see the main guy about to shoot everyone with the submachine gun, and then she drops... Actually, no, I don't think it was a submachine gun. I think it was just an assault rifle. I'm sorry. I gotta double check that. Wonder Woman drops down, she blocks the bullets, and then she keeps blocking them. Even though the CG is still a little awkward, it looks you could definitely tell that was a CG model in both versions, but for some reason it looks better here because she was blocking the bullets very fast, so you can't really tell that's CGI. In the other one, she did it a little slower, and because you're able to see it slower, you're able to see the CG model clearly. But here, she was doing it so fast that you are not really distracted by it. So when she finishes, then she does the bracelet thing. In the Joss Whedon version, it just stops right there. You know, when she bangs the bracelets. But here, he dead. He is dead. You don't see his body at all. You just see his hat falling to the ground. The whole floor is just destroyed. You actually see the explosion of the bracelets, which is, I was like, Diana, did you really have to do it that hard? I'm glad that we actually see the explosion though, because I remember seeing that in the trailers and it never happened. It never happens. Now we finally see it in Zack Snyder's version, and I realized that she destroyed the whole damn floor. But then we have a very nice scene where it doesn't stop there. Diana actually asks the people there, including the girls, if they're okay. And one girl was sitting down, and she asked Diana, can I be like you someday? And it was very touching. It was really, really touching. I don't know why they would cut this part out, because it was like, what, another 30 seconds to a minute? Joss Whedon, I'm pretty sure you could have left this part in. I don't know what the hell you were thinking about that. That's not a bad thing. That's a horrible thing to cut. I feel like that shows Wonder Woman right there, that she still cares about the people, you know? Damn, Joss Whedon. Oh my god. Oh, so I forgot to, you know what, I gotta mention, I have to go back to the 4:3 aspect ratio. Okay, at first, I thought it was a bit distracting, because, you know, everyone has widescreen TVs, everyone has widescreen monitors, so seeing two black bars on the side is a little distracting. And yeah, in the beginning, they did say, oh, we kept this in a 4:3 aspect ratio to preserve the image of Zack Snyder's vision. And I know a lot of people on Twitter were snickering at that, and they were like, oh my god, such a pretentious douchebag and stuff like that. All those mean tweets and stuff over the 4:3 aspect ratio. But at first, I thought it looked a little weird. But I quickly got into it. I really did. It's fascinating because I did not think that I would like this, but I did. Because basically it is in an IMAX format, and yes, not a lot of people have TVs that are formatted for IMAX, especially with the 4:3. I mean, that's like old school, you know? We used to have those kind of TVs, but now everything is wide. So, but the good news about this is that because it's in 4:3, the IMAX format, we actually see everything. I mean, I couldn't believe it. At first, I thought, oh, it's gonna do that weird thing where, oh, it's gonna be awkward close-ups and it looks like everything is cut out and stuff, like we can't see much of the background. But no, we can see everything. You really can. And if you actually want to see this on an iPad, it actually fills up the entire tablet so you can still see everything. Honestly, I'm wondering if Zack Snyder actually thought about that. He's like, oh, if you want, you could actually see this on an iPad, and it looks amazing because it fills the entire screen. I'm wondering if he actually thought that, or that was just a coincidence. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that it's not the first thing that came to his mind. I think it's pretty secondary, but man, because it's on a streaming platform and you could actually see it on your iPad without any of the black bars, that is cool. But if you're watching it on a TV or a monitor, yeah, you do get the black bars, but after a while, you just get used to it. Some people, they still just keep looking at it back and forth, so it distracts them, and I get it. But if I were you guys, hopefully you have a black bordered TV, and if you turn off the lights, you most likely won't notice it that much. But for me, I watched it during the daytime, and I didn't notice it. I mean, I quickly loved it. I just loved seeing everything. I was like, wow, this is really, really impressive. I will say, I hate the subtitles on HBO Max, because it's not like normal subtitles. Sometimes they show up in the ground. Sometimes the format of it is just weird. So I will say that about HBO Max. It's not Justice League's fault. The subtitles on HBO Max just looks bad. I prefer to see it like regular Blu-ray style, you know, in the middle and stuff like that. Disney Plus at least got that right. So yeah, fix that HBO Max. Fix that. Okay, so after the Wonder Woman rescue, we get to the Amazon fight. Okay, so here's the interesting thing. It is extended. And it's not just the fight that got extended. We actually have more dialogue with Connie Nielsen's character and all the other Amazons. They actually talk about how long any changes for today, because the mother box has been activated for a very, very long time, ever since Superman died. So that was interesting, because in the Joss Whedon version, the mother box just activated because Steppenwolf was near it. But here, it's been activated. The only difference is that it just went to sleep for like a few seconds and everyone was nervous. And then reactivates again, gets all frantic and stuff, and then Steppenwolf finally comes in. But in the Joss Whedon version, the Parademons arrived first, and then Steppenwolf. No, I'm sorry. That's in the Joss Whedon version, only Steppenwolf appeared first, and then the Parademons followed him after he gave his great speech. But here, the Parademons entered first, and then Steppenwolf. And I gotta say, Steppenwolf, man. Steppenwolf looks badass. I love the look of him this time around. In the Joss Whedon version, he just looks like a tall, old man with really, really wrinkly, scrotum-like, bland armor. The armor kind of reminds me of the armor from The Witcher, the bad guys. I forgot what the race is called. The Niflheim something. I gotta double check. I like the Witcher series, by the way, with Henry Cavill. So yeah, the armor reminds me of that, and yeah, I did not like the design of Steppenwolf in that one. Here, he looks badass. He looks alien. His face is alien. He has like giant bug eyes compared to just regular human eyes. His face is like an insect as well, which I love. And the horns also makes him look like an insect too. So I love the design of it. And I also love the spikes that move every single time too. Like if he needs to defend himself, they actually become sharp. So that was really cool. And I like the fact that he looks more like an alien. His hand is... He doesn't have 5 fingers. He actually has more than that. He has like extra fingers here. I didn't even notice until they showed a close-up of his hand. That was pretty cool. And also his feet are not like normal human feet. They are different too. They are more like an insect. So that is pretty damn cool. I really like this design of Steppenwolf. I don't understand why they didn't have this, because this was based off one of the concept arts for Zack Snyder's for a fucking long period of time. Hell, this was the same design that was used for Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition, so I don't fucking understand why Joss Whedon didn't want to choose this one. I don't get it. Anyway, also, the dialogue is different this time around for Steppenwolf. In the Joss Whedon version, he keeps talking about mother. Mother, 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 mother. Everything about mother. He's such a mama's boy. But here, he doesn't say mother at all, which is so freaking refreshing. He sees the box, he wants it, that's it. He doesn't really give a big speech. He was actually, he was talking about fear. You know, the Amazons are gonna love him. They're gonna be under him and all that stuff. And he was talking about fear. And then we got the badass line from Queen Hippolyta. Yeah, I'm sorry, I was blanking on the character's name, Hippolyta. And she's like, Amazons, we have no fear. That was pretty cool too. And this scene, even though it was badass in the Joss Whedon version, but here it was extended. There's more fighting. There's more beheading of the parademons. Limbs are getting chopped off. Heads are getting chopped off. There's blood. The Amazons are dying as well. Oh my god, I love it. And the music is better too. It reminds you more of actually 300. This is the female version of 300 and it looks badass. There's some dodgy CGI though. With the environments, you're like, oh yeah, that's green screen. You could definitely tell that's green screen. But I was willing to forgive it though because it was still a badass scene. Hippolyta actually fights a bit this time around, and she killed a couple of the parademons too. So that was pretty cool. So and here's there's a huge difference between this scene and the scene from Josh Whedon. So Hippolyta tells the Amazons to start breaking down the gates. So after she goes through, in the Josh Whedon version, she's on the horse and they're already running away from the base. And that was it. And Steppenwolf was still in the base, and then he carves out an axe to bash out the wall, and then he does the huge jump. No, not in Zack Snyder's version. The base actually crumbles to the ground all the way into the ocean. Basically, that means every single Amazon is dead inside there. And they sacrificed their lives trying to stop Steppenwolf. And I was like, holy crap, that's such a big emotional impact. Because that's the thing about Zack Snyder's Justice League. At first, I was wondering, why are they showing more about the Amazons this time? They're showing more of the faces and more dialogue for them. But then you realize it's because they're about to die. They are sacrificing their lives to stop Steppenwolf. And I was like, oh my god, this is such a big payoff. And yes, even though their deaths are meaningless because they didn't stop Steppenwolf, but still, it's a much bigger scene. It's much more emotional, especially for Hippolyta, who had to sacrifice her warriors to stop Steppenwolf. So she was behind, and they keep showing this one Amazonian who I thought was gonna be like Donna Troy or something like that, but no, there's a reason why they show her a bit more this time around. So Steppenwolf jumps out of the ruined base and then starts killing off even more Amazons trying to grab the mother box. And it's pretty much the same thing in the Josh Whedon version, except it was paced differently. This time it's a little faster, so the slow-mo is not as fast as the one in Josh Whedon's version. And also there's blood, and you do see the woman who shoots out the bow and arrow, and she's actually about to get stabbed with the axe. And that was pretty cool. And then Hippolyta got the box along with the girl, and then Steppenwolf threw them off the horse, and then he got the mother box. And this time around there's a little difference. In the Josh Whedon version, Hippolyta shoots an arrow and Steppenwolf deflects it. But in the Zack Snyder version, she shoots an arrow and Steppenwolf actually grabs it and then breaks it, which is more badass, to be honest. I love it. And yep, there's no mother dialogue too. He does talk about the dark side a bit and stuff like that. So he escapes, and then the Amazons are it turns out that the girl they keep showing is the one that gets crushed under the horse, and there's a extended scene with that, and then she dies, and then they don't immediately go to the arrow scene. They're just talking about we're gonna shoot an arrow, and the men won't know, but she will. She referred to Diana, so that's pretty much the same in Josh Whedon's version, but they don't show the arrow scene yet. They just stop right there. Then immediately shows Steppenwolf going to a city in Russia. I totally forgot where it is, what city it was. That's actually hit with radiation. So that's why no one's living there. You know what that means? There is no Russian family. Seriously, in the Josh Whedon version, we keep checking up on this Russian family who was really, really distracting, to be honest. I mean, we keep seeing them, ever since the parademons invaded, and then we just keep checking up on them. No, there's none of that. There's no people to rescue, no one from this, ghost town, ghost city, because it was hit with radiation. So I'm like, wow, did we really have to add people in Josh Whedon? Really? Really? Man, so there's none of the annoying hostages and all that stuff. There's no distracting side quest for the Flash. Seriously, because there's no Russian family, there are no people to save, there's no Superman. Civilians, I have to go save them. And then he carries the building, even though I did like it in Joss Whedon's Justice League, but it's not in here, so that's a plus. And also no Flash just saving a family on a truck and pushing them out of the way and say Dostoevsky or something like that. Yeah, there's none of that. So wow, already such a huge improvement already. Wow. Again, sometimes I know Zack Snyder said that he never watched Joss Whedon's version, but sometimes I felt like, I'm pretty sure you did, man. And you're like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. If he really didn't, then wow, God bless you, man. Seriously, wow. Such a big improvement. And okay, so then we got to the plane with Bruce and Alfred, and they actually talk. There's different dialogue, even though they're pretty much talking about the same thing. Like, they have to track down the rest of the lead, that the Aquaman might show up later, and they're talking about Barry Allen and also Victor Stone and Wonder Woman. But they never mentioned the wind-up penguins. They didn't, joke around and stuff like that. So that is different. They were more serious. And then we get to Star Labs, and it's pretty much the same with Victor Stone's father getting out of the labs, saying goodbye to the janitor, and but the difference is that in the Joss Whedon version, we see Victor Stone's father leaving the labs and then going home and then talking with Cyborg. But here, it's just sticking with the janitor who sees the parademon and then gets captured. So there's a difference. Because in the Joss Whedon version, we don't see the janitor being taken yet. We actually see him getting taken later. A bit later. And also, when the janitor gets taken, there's no dumbass interview with his wife saying, oh, those fucking aliens are gonna probe my husband and all that shit. Yeah, there's none of that. There is none of that. And actually, that means that there's actually no Daily Planet in Zack Snyder's version. There's no scene that takes place at the Daily Planet. Hell, there's no... in the Joss Whedon version, we already get a scene where Martha and Lois talk in the Daily Planet. And but we don't have that here. Lois and Martha does not even meet for a while, actually. And yes, Martha still lost the farm, and this time it took place at night instead of during the daytime. I'm sorry, I didn't mention this during the opening title credits, because that's when it actually happened. Let me see. Okay, and then we get to the Amazons finally shooting the arrow, and Diana actually sees it on the news, but the difference is this time she actually goes to retrieve the arrow. She actually goes there, and then she raids a tomb, basically. She goes inside a cavern, sees a tomb, and then she uses the arrow, which is actually a key, which opens up a doorway into the secret chamber, and then she sees the history of Darkseid. So that's all new in Zack Snyder's version, because in the original one, she says, oh, an invasion is coming. That's it. She doesn't even have to go to the arrow. She knows exactly what it means, and then she immediately meets up with Bruce. That's it. And now these scenes are a bit similar, even though it is different. So there's a fishing boat. It's sinking, it was going under, and the guy is asking for help, and then Aquaman saves him. But the editing is different here, because in the Joss Whedon version, when we see Aquaman for the first time during this scene, he was actually going under the water, under the boat, then jumping up and then landing on top of the boat. But this time, it's kind of like a Batman moment, where we're still focused on the guy, the guy who owns the fishing boat, and then he looks up and then he immediately sees Aquaman. So it's like a Batman moment. The camera pans up to show Aquaman. So that was pretty cool. And then Aquaman brings him to a bar, and then he asks for whiskey and says it's on him and stuff like that. But this time, the guy doesn't speak at all. He doesn't say anything about aliens falling out of the sky, tearing up his boat and stuff like that, going underwater. He doesn't say any of that. That was only in the Joss Whedon version. Also, there's no green alien blood this time around, because in the Joss Whedon version, Aquaman realizes that there's green alien blood that's on the fisherman and also on his fingers. Then he realized, oh shit, there's probably something wrong happening at Atlantis. So this time, there's none of that. He drinks up the whiskey, says it's on him, slowly goes outside, taking off his shirt, and then you hear the rock music playing and stuff like that, and then he goes under, and he meets up with Volko, who's Willem Dafoe, and this time around he has long hair. So yeah, he was Volko was cut from the Joss Whedon version, so this was a very nice addition. It's basically setting up Aquaman, because Aquaman talks about King Orm, and this is where we get to see where Aquaman gets his armor and gets his trident. Sure, he doesn't take it at first, but at least now we know where he got it. So at least that was good, because I do believe that in the Joss Whedon version, Aquaman asks Mera that he needs something from her, and that could be referring to the armor and the trident. But here, at least we see that the Willem Dafoe had it the entire time. He wanted to give it to him, and he was saying that the mother boxes need protection and stuff like that. There's a big evil coming. You gotta prepare. Take up your mother's trident. The dialogue is so much better. Oh my god, it's so much better. Why did you cut this? Oh, okay. Let me take a drink. And then Steppenwolf talks with Desaad, and which explains the motivations of Steppenwolf. Like in the Joss Whedon version, basically he is doing it for Darkseid. He does talk about Darkseid for like once or twice, but he mostly talks about mother, and trying to claim the planet. And but in the Zack Snyder version, we realize that he actually made a humongous mistake. Like, he betrayed Darkseid, and Steppenwolf wants to be on his good graces again. He's trying to make it up, and he owes Darkseid like 50,000 planets. So at least we see the motivation. We're like, oh, okay, that's why Steppenwolf is doing all this. And it actually makes more sense. And actually, it makes Steppenwolf more badass and more relatable compared to the Joss Whedon one. Because in the Joss Whedon one, he honestly seems like a wimp. Oh, man. So now we finally get to the scene where Diana talks with Bruce in his hangar when he's fixing up the bat plane. So then we get the history lesson, the legends, about the ancient war. But in the Joss Whedon version, it was the Amazons, the humans, and the Atlanteans joined with the gods and the Green Lanterns fighting off Steppenwolf. But here, they actually fought off Darkseid. There's no Steppenwolf in this whole sequence. And it was pretty badass. And also, it took its time with it. It made it more epic. It actually looked like a Lord of the Rings battle. And it's pretty cool, especially with the tag team between the gods. You see Zeus, and I'm pretty sure that was Artemis because, you know, it's a bow and arrow, and Ares. And yes, you do see the actor who played Ares in Wonder Woman, you know, David Lewis, but this time around, he is tall, he is bald, which made me laugh. I was like, bald! But he's, and, you know, giant muscles. I'm pretty sure, I think that was like a muscular suit, or they just put David DeLuis's face on a, you know, a strong buff guy. I gotta double check that. I don't know who played Zeus, but man, he is pretty handsome, and I love his muscles. So yeah, it showed Ares is back, and he has an extended scene. The Green Lantern also had a bit of an extended scene. Sure, the Green Lantern dies, but it was different though, because in Joss Whedon, yes, he dies, but we don't see what killed him, and the ring just flew away. But here, we actually see that Darkseid actually kills him, and then the ring flies away. So that was pretty cool to see. And also, the Green Lantern was actually killing some of the parademons, a lot more parademons than he did in the Josh Whedon version. And it was a different, and he was shot differently too, because in the this one you actually see a close-up of the Green Lantern, so that was cool. Because in the other one it was the camera angles like from far away, so you could still see the green energy power and stuff like that, but not as much. So, and the different, and here's the thing, Ares actually kicked Darkseid's ass. I was like, wow, that is really, really cool. He actually wounded Darkseid. So I know some people are saying, wait, if Ares is able to fight Darkseid and he got his ass kicked by Wonder Woman, so how powerful is Darkseid then? Because, you know, Wonder Woman killed Ares, who wounded Darkseid. So doesn't that mean Wonder Woman is stronger than Darkseid? Which I'm pretty sure that's the point of the anti-life equation they're going to talk about later in the movie, that Darkseid is going to be stronger, or it's been so long that Darkseid has been training his butt off and trying to, you know, get stronger and stuff like that. I know some people are going to complain about that. They're like, if Ares got killed by Wonder Woman, then Wonder Woman should be stronger than Darkseid. So yeah, I know some people are going to talk about that, but anyway, I'm okay with it. I'm honestly okay with it. Because it was badass. And Zeus using his powers, it's in slow motion, and then he shoots at the ships, and also what else? The Artemis is destroying the ships as well. There's more slow motion too. It was cool. It was really cool. And and also it's better because in the that the Darkseid was actually carried, and then he's almost dying and stuff like that. That was different. In the other one, Steppenwolf is like, no, you know, being dragged back and stuff like that. I honestly prefer the Darkseid, you know, getting wounded and being carried. I felt like that was better than the Steppenwolf being dragged away. Let me see. And the difference, and the other difference is, this time around, Diana spoke to Bruce the entire time inside the plane. In the other one, in the Josh Whedon version, she and Bruce actually talked about the story outside near the lake. Where Cyborg was actually hiding in the forest. So that was a big difference too. Okay, so now we just reached part 3. Yes, this movie, I forgot to mention this, I'm sorry. This movie is in parts, kind of similar to how Quentin Tarantino does it with his movies. So there's part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, part 6, and then an epilogue. And usually the credit for each part is a line of dialogue that a character will say later on during that part. So that's that. And honestly, it's a little weird because it's kind of inconsistent with the timing of each part. It's not like each part is like, oh, it's like 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. No, one is much longer than the other. And yeah, it's a little inconsistent. But honestly, because it's basically represented like different chapters and you can see it on the timeline, you can skip to each chapter. So at least that's cool for HBO Max. Okay, so now we're up to part 3, which is really interesting because in Josh Whedon's version, Superman is already resurrected. So by the time we reach part 3 of Zack Snyder's Justice League, Superman's already resurrected. That is freaking hilarious. And now we're introduced to Barry Allen for the first time in this movie. And Iris West is brought back in. They actually have the whole saving her from the grisly death in a car accident scene. And Barry's trying to get a job at a pet store. So that whole thing is back. And the effects with Barry is pretty cool. When he's entered the Speed Force and then his shoes were torn apart because he's going so fast, and he's running, and then he just pushes against the glass, which looks like water. It's not water, but the animation of it kind of looks like water. It's like he's trying to form a bubble, and then it shatters, which looks pretty cool. And then he goes to the window, and then he's running on the pavement, and even the pavement's getting ripped apart and stuff. And yeah, his power is pretty cool. So when he's trying to save Iris, He was gently trying to lay her down because he was going way too fast, so he doesn't want to hurt her, and that was pretty awesome. So he laid her down, he rescued her, the car explodes. I will say this, there's a thing I really hate about this movie, and it's terrible, terrible drivers. Seriously, terrible drivers. The truck driver that started this whole thing, and yes, it's a bit of Iris's fault too, or Iris's fault too, because she did not wear a seatbelt, unless her car does not have seatbelts, which is pretty unsafe, honestly. But she did not focus on the road. She was mostly focused on Barry, so it is also her fault too. But that truck driver, oh my god, what an obnoxious motherfucker. He's such a fucking asshole. I hate him. I mean, wow. It's funny because during the beginning of this part, you actually see that same truck entering the city. So he's on the outskirts of the city, where it's a slow down and all that stuff. And yeah, he's going into the city, and he was eating a cheeseburger, and the burger fell down, and he keeps trying to grab it. Here's the problem. It's not like, yeah, I know, he's still an asshole if he does this on the highway, but the problem is, it's not a highway. It's not like, oh, it's one long stretch of a road where no one's in front of him. No. This is on a regular main street, with traffic lights. And he decides to try to grab his burger? Are you fucking kidding me? You could just stop the truck at any point and you're like, no, I gotta grab this burger for like a minute. I couldn't fucking believe it. I did not like this. I honestly don't. No, I felt like this part should be cut. Like, a lot of the truck drivers should be cut. Like, if he dropped the burger and it was like an instant response, he didn't look up because he looked down for like a second or two trying to grab his burger, and then he made the whole accident, I'm okay with that. But no, he took his fucking time trying to grab this burger. This burger is like the most important burger of all time. It's basically like the Krabby Patty or something like that. I don't know. What the hell is wrong with this guy? He spent such a long time trying to grab this fucking burger. Now I'm getting hungry because I keep talking about burgers. So yeah, and we see the slow motion shot of the sesame seed. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. But yeah, I did not like the truck driver. I do blame Iris for not wearing a seatbelt. I mean, I understand. If she didn't wear a seatbelt, then it wouldn't look cool for the visual shot of her, being flung off the car and Barry could save her. I understand that, but oh my god. I also have to blame her too. And there's another bad driver thing I gotta talk about later in the movie. But here's the thing, if you guys are okay with that, you think that's really nothing, I understand. But for me, that just aggravates me so much because I hate drivers like that, Seriously, they all could have died. And Barry stole a hot dog, but he gave it to the actual dog, so that was funny. But yeah, that was funny. Okay, so now we go to Cyborg, and it explains his backstory, where he was at a football game. He actually also helped a fellow student out by hacking into the system and giving her good grades and stuff. So he's an alright kid, and he's a star athlete too because he won this football game pretty much by himself, and he dodges everyone, he blocks, he pushes people away, and he got the touchdown too, and his mother is celebrating. His father was not there. So, and then he was upset because his father, Silas Stone, is not there. So he and his mother were talking about it during the car ride. Yes, now we get to the... Yeah, I have to talk about the terrible driver. I'm sorry, Victor Stone's mother was a terrible driver. I'm sorry. I'm honestly sorry about that. But that's how I kind of viewed it, because she did not focus on the road. She keeps looking over Victor, looking over Victor, looking over Victor. I'm like, can you not do that? Can you focus on the road? Oh my god. You know what? This is not like in Shazam where the boy was distracting everyone, so that's why the father couldn't focus on the road, because it just happened and then they got hit by the car. At least that happened very quickly. But no, she keeps looking over to Victor, talking to Victor. listen, you don't have to look at him. You could just talk to him while looking at the fucking road. I honestly wish that it wasn't her fault that you know, she had the right of way, and the other car that hit her was the cause of the accident. I felt like that should have been it, like in No Country for Old Men, where shoot, I forgot the character's name. Well, the actor, Javier Bardem, he was driving, and he's still focused on the road. He sees that's his green light on his side, so he can go through the intersection, but the asshole car slammed into him, and then he died, you know? Well, the driver died. Javier Bardem was just badly injured. But yeah, that's what I mean. I wish that was more like that. But no, from what I'm seeing, she barely looked at the road, and that caused the accident. And Victor blamed his father for that because, you know, basically he's implying that if his father was there, none of this would happen. But I was like, I'm sorry, but your mother caused the accident. And technically you did by being all depressed and stuff. Couldn't you talk about this at home? I'm sorry. I felt like it should have been... Yeah, that just annoyed me, to be honest. Anything with bad driving, it just annoys me. If it's used for comedy, fine. But if it's used for dramatic effect and it's their fault, I have to admit, it just annoys me. I'm sorry. But we get more of Cyborg backstory about him losing his arm and I think his legs as well, and he's about to die because he's brain damaged, and Silas is like, no, I'm not gonna let that happen, I'm not gonna lose you too. So he uses the mother box to try to figure it out because he did research on that, and he was able to make Cyborg into an actual cyborg, and he tells Cyborg that you don't have to stay here, you could live your new life, you've been given a second chance. And Cyborg is still depressed, he believes his father's a monster, so Silas leaves a tape recorder, and he's telling him, listen, you have all these abilities, you could push to your limits and all that stuff. Very similar to Jor-El's speech from Man of Steel. So it's except this time it's given to Cyborg. So Cyborg is learning about his new powers. He's learning how to fly for the first time, and that's really different because in the Joss Whedon version, Cyborg already knows how to fly. He's like, he was like, oh, I could do this. I didn't do that yesterday. That's what he can do in Joss Whedon's version. But here we actually have a training montage of him trying to learn how to fly. Also, what abilities he could use, and then we have this really long scene, but it was actually pretty touching, where he was looking at the bank records of a lot of people, but he focused on this one woman because it looks like she has like, what, $15 or something like that and change in her bank account. And he was looking at the security cameras, tapes, or some kind of social media like, Instagram or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's just a combined footage of everything through social media and security cameras. So he's focused on the single mother who's a waitress, and I believe she's Asian also. And she's working her ass off, trying to work as a waitress and, trying to get everything for her son, but she doesn't have enough money because she's a single mother. She gets evicted from her house. She has no money, and she's really worried. And then what Cyborg did is actually give her even more money. Yeah, it's a holographic thing that he does, visually, but it turns out that he gave her like, you want a grand prize of $100,000, and she was at an ATM, and Cyborg is seeing this, and she's so happy that she got the money, and I was like, wow, that is actually very touching. Wow, basically it's like a Robin Hood moment that the Cyborg just did, and yeah, it was really, really touching, and I'm upset that this part got cut. And the interesting thing is that I saw this on Twitter. The actress who played the waitress, she asked people, hey, I actually been cut from the Joss Whedon version of Justice League. Can you please tell me if I'm actually in this version or not? And people were responding to her, oh yes, you were in this movie. You're the waitress. I love your scene. And she was so happy to hear that her scene was not cut from Zack Snyder's version, that people can actually see her scene and people actually loved that scene. That to me was a humongous payoff. I, man, I'm. It has a happy ending. This scene has a happy ending for Zack Snyder's film, and also in real life with this actress. I mean, wow, that I almost got teary eyed when I saw her tweets and everyone responding too, and that is so good. That is really really good. Bravo with that. And then let's see. Then we go back to Barry, where he meets up with his father, who's played by Billy Crudup. And it's a little different here. The dialogue is mostly the same, but it's a little different. Because in the Joss Whedon version, before Barry meets up with his father, he's trying to sign out on the form, and then a asshole behind him is like, hey, keep it moving, or can you hurry up, and all that stuff. And then you see Barry doing the pen thing on his face. Yeah, that was cut. It just cut. That is cut. That's not Zack Snyder's version. We actually just see him talking to his father. So after the dialogue with his father, he goes back to his hideout, and this is pretty much the exact same scene. Like, almost nothing is changed. Besides the fact that in Joss Whedon's version, when we see Bruce Wayne sitting in the chair, one of the monitors was playing like K-pop music or something like that. Here it's like a skull and it's playing rock music, so at least there's the difference. But the dialogue is pretty much the exact same, except for one. There's no brunch line. There's nothing about brunch. So that's a plus. That's a huge plus. Nothing about brunch. So we see Barry talk about, can I keep this? And then it cuts to them outside, and Barry asks him, hey, what's your superpower again? And Bruce says, being rich. And we do see the car scene driving away, and it's a bit more extended too. And then we get to Diana meeting up with Cyborg. And yeah, like I said, in the Joss Whedon version, Cyborg was actually looking over Bruce and Diana near the lake. And then Cyborg hacks into the computer, and Diana actually says, oh, if I were to kill you, I would have done it near the lake, and then they meet up. But here, because they never had any interaction, Diana was looking over Cyborg's data and stuff. And then he says, oh, we have to meet here now. And then she goes over there. And we do have a very, very good scene between her and Alfred, actually, because they were talking about how to make tea and stuff. And yeah, it was a pretty good scene, too. It's a shame that it got cut as well, because it was like not even a minute long. It was actually pretty funny, and it was really, really charming. I liked it. I really liked the tea scene. And then we get to Diana meeting up with Cyborg. Cyborg in the Joss Whedon version isn't naked. He's wearing a hoodie, he's wearing pants and all that stuff. Here, he's fully naked. He flew in to talk to Diana. And yes, the dialogue is pretty much the same. Like, if these are gifts, then why am I the only one suffering? It's pretty much the same dialogue, and they're talking about loss. So it's pretty much the same, but it's edited differently, it's paced differently, and Cyborg actually says fuck for once during this movie. You know, rated R. But yeah, it's pretty much the same, even though it's edited differently and the dialogue is a little different. But that's it. Okay, then we get to Ryan Choi, who actually will be the Atom. So yeah, that was nice. He's basically the most prominent Asian actor in the whole movie, which is pretty cool too. The fact that we might get an Atom in the future. Actually, we might not, because, you know, Zack Snyder might no longer be involved with the DCEU, and Warner Bros. Want to reboot everything from what it seems like. So, but anyway, it's nice to see Ryan Choi as the future Atom. And then we see Victor's father gets kidnapped. And then we get to Steppenwolf attacking Mera and Aquaman. Okay, so here's the huge difference now, even though it's pretty much the same scene. Sorry about that. All right, so Mera. Okay, in Aquaman, in the movie Aquaman, Mera and Aquaman and everyone, every Atlantean, can talk underwater. They can talk. But in Zack Snyder's version, they talk in clicks whenever they're in the water, like that, you know? So they talk in like clicks and stuff. So I was like, that is very interesting. That was the original plan for how the Atlanteans talk underwater. Because in the Aquaman movie, they actually just spoke in plain English, you know, out loud underwater, like they were on the surface. So that's why in here, when they were like clicking and all this stuff, and then Mara like makes an air bubble so they can actually talk in English. Wow, okay, that is really interesting. So that's a big difference. Okay, so now we get to Steppenwolf fighting Mara. Okay, so there's a lot more blood, but Mara still does the awesome you know, whirlwind attack on Steppenwolf. But when Steppenwolf grabbed her, she did an awesome. She has an awesome ability. In Aquaman, I'm not sure if you remember this, if you've seen the movie. There's a scene where Mara was in the like a wine bar or something like that, where there's bottles of wine behind her. So she uses the wine and then she breaks open the wine bottles, and it looks like the blood, like blood is coming out of the bottles, and she was like blood bending, even though it's basically wine bending. Well, water bending. So and turns them into shards and then throws it at the bad guys. So yeah, in here, she was able to bloodbend, basically. So she's taking all the water out of Steppenwolf to the point where he's about to bleed, and she was taking out the blood as well. That was so freaking cool. That was so freaking cool. I love that. Like, she is a savage, man. She was draining him of fluids, including blood. That was fucking cool. Of course, Steppenwolf stopped her, and then Aquaman comes in, and it is basically the same fight, like exactly the same movements, the exact same shots, but again, it was edited and paced differently, where it felt faster in this movie. So yeah, it's the same outcome and everything, but man, it looked better in this. Okay, so, and then we get to the Mara and Aquaman talking about Atlanta and stuff like that, but the dialogue is different other than talking about the mother, because Aquaman doesn't ask for Mara's help or anything in getting the armor or the trident. He's just, you know, shaking it off and then goes away in this version. So now Steppenwolf has 2 mother boxes, and by this point in the Joss Whedon version, the movie is almost over. It's very funny because the movie is almost over. It's basically like the final fight has ended. Steppenwolf has died. They're basically near the end credits at this point in Joss Whedon's version of the movie. But in this movie, Steppenwolf finally got the second mother box. That is hilarious. Okay, so now we get to the Diana, Bruce, and Barry, you know, meeting outside the plane. There is no ass shot of Diana this time around. Thank God. Because that was really awkward in Joss Whedon's version. I'm like, really? You have to put the camera up near her ass just to show her ass. Really? Really? I don't get it. So there's no ass shot, and then we got to Commissioner Gordon about to light up the bat signal, and it's pretty much the same dialogue, like almost nothing extended, almost nothing changed. So yeah, everything with Commissioner Gordon is basically the same in Joss Whedon's version. So, which is weird because I thought there would be extended scenes. Like, yes, it's a bit extended when he threw away the messages, you know, and that was funny too, but that was like, what, maybe like 10 seconds added in? But I thought that Commissioner Gordon would have a lot more to do in this, but no, almost all the scenes with him are basically the same in Joss Whedon's version. Okay, now we get to the League about to fight Steppenwolf. So we get the dialogue where Cyborg's like, I heard you were a myth, and I didn't know you were real. And Batman's like, I'm real when I'm useful. Yeah, that line is back. And Wonder Woman is saying, don't fight alone. And Flash didn't listen to her at first by going first alone on the bridge. That made me laugh a bit. And she's like, oh, come on. And anyway, they're about to fight Steppenwolf, and this time, Cyborg has more abilities. He's able to create more arms and stuff like that, so that was pretty cool. And then Diana slams into the parademon, slashes it and stuff. There's blood everywhere. And yeah, the fight is so much better because it's extended, it's gory. Like, she's slicing up the parademons. That was really cool. And Batman can actually fight this time around. In the other one, he's usually just thrown all across the room and he barely does anything. But this time, because Alfred made the gauntlets to withstand energy blasts, so yeah, he's able to block lasers from the parademons and also was able to fight them back. That was pretty cool. Batman can actually fight this time around. Wow, what a huge difference. And Cyborg and Flash were guiding the people out, including Victor Stone's father. So, but this time around, they didn't just go to another room and then they just tell them to go. No, they actually escort them out by going all the way up the stairs. And then when Flash is done, he goes back down and helps Diana grab the swords. And here's the editing for that sword scene is different because in here, when Diana realizes that the sword is about to fall off the bridge and she's trying to grab it, it was paced better, it was edited better because in the Joss Whedon version, there's like a couple scenes happening and you're wondering how come Diana didn't pick up the sword already because so much time has passed. But here, it was like instant. Like, she sees the sword is about to fall, Steppenwolf makes a bridge collapse and then she runs after the sword and then grabs it. But in the Joss Whedon one, no, it's like she could have just grabbed it. It was basically right in front of her. So I don't know why it took her that long trying to grab a sword. But here it was instant, so that made more sense. And there's no parademon flying behind her or something like that. No parademons in that room too. So the Flash is doing his Flash thing with the Speed Force and then pushes Diana's sword back, and he trips, which I honestly thought was a Joss Whedon thing because I don't know, I felt like that Joss Whedon added that to make him look like a clumsy idiot, but no, he actually trips in Zack Snyder's version. So I was like, huh, this is a little weird. And he actually gets hit with the laser too and was about to be taken away by the parademon. So that was also in Zack Snyder's edition. But I will say this, even though I was a bit weirded by these choices with the Flash, he's basically worthless, but here's a major difference. In the Joss Whedon version, the Flash sees the parademons and Steppenwolf and is like, oh no, I can't do this, I'm afraid, I just push people and run away. And then Batman's like, save one, then you'll find out. Yeah, that dialogue was in the Joss Whedon version. Here, no, he's just saving people already, which makes sense because he fought off Captain Boomerang in Suicide Squad. So I'm like, I'm very confused. Why is he a coward in Joss Whedon's version? I never liked that. So here, he's actually already saving people, so that was good. Oh my god, this review is so long. Because I'm talking about 4-hour-long movie. Okay, so oh yeah, Steppenwolf grabs the missile, and instead of him talking about primitive beings or primitive weapons and stuff like that, no, he grabs the missile and lets it go. That's it. And then he teleports. Awesome, that was better. Instead of him being like, oh, primitive things, and then lets it go after like holding on to it for like 15 seconds. I'm like, what's the point of that? Oh man, see, everything Zack Snyder did with Steppenwolf is so much better. And Aquaman saves the day. We see the Nightcrawler grabbing the people, so that's still the same. And then we still have the same dialogue about Steppenwolf looking out for the third mother box, and Cyborg comes back with that mother box because he hit it in a near a grave. And then they go to Bruce's hangar, which is shot differently and edited differently, and the dialogue is all different too. They just talk about resurrecting Superman, and they talk about how the mother boxes actually work this time around. In the Joss Whedon version, yeah, they do talk about resurrecting Superman. They do talk about how the mother boxes work, but it's not as compelling. And also, it's a lot of Bruce berating Diana for not showing up for a long time. And yes, I can understand that, but at the same time, that's not the big issue here, you know? It's about resurrecting Superman. So yeah, there's no mention of Steve Trevor in this during this dialogue. There's no like, oh, did Steve Trevor tell you that? And Diana just pushes him against the boxes and stuff. There's none of that here. No, they're pretty much in agreement that they have to resurrect Superman. So there's no like it's not like in the Avengers where everyone's against each other. No, none of that. Here, almost everyone's on board except for Aquaman. Aquaman's skeptical of resurrecting Superman because he's like, he might have the same powers, he might have the same abilities, but he might not have the same soul. Are you sure that he could be whole again? You know, which is makes sense. So Aquaman was skeptical, but everyone believes that they have to resurrect Superman to have a chance to fight off Steppenwolf. So at least that was fast. Then we finally get the scene with Martha and Lois in Lois's apartment about moving on. And yeah, I felt like it's a better scene here than in Joss Whedon's Justice League, even though I still like that scene in Joss Whedon's version. Although there's some awkward humor about Lois being thirsty. Yeah, that was weird. But other than that, I thought Diane Lane and Amy Adams did a great job in Joss Whedon's version, and they did a great job here. I do like the dialogue. But now it turns out that Lois did not work in the Daily Planet at all. So that's when we find out, oh wow, so there's no Daily Planet in this one. She is done for now. Even though I kind of miss Perry White because of Lawrence Fishburne, I really wanted to see him again. So it's a shame that we don't see him again. So when Martha leaves, it turns out that she actually is the Martian Manhunter. We finally see him this time around, and it turns out that he was actually the Lieutenant General Swanwick from Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. It was him all along. Harry Lennox, I believe that's the actor's name. So yeah, the funny thing is that we keep hearing that this was going to happen. We keep hearing about the theories, and also I'm pretty sure Zack Snyder confirmed that Swanwick is the Martian Manhunter. So yeah, we pretty much knew this was going to happen. But yeah, the twist that that wasn't Martha Kent, that was actually Martian Manhunter talking to Lois during that time. So yeah, that was a twist. So at that point, I was hoping that he has something to do in the final fight against Steppenwolf. He doesn't. He honestly doesn't. It was just a tease. So that's a bit of a shame. Okay, then we get to the grave digging scene, and the dialogue is actually really different. Sure, they both talk. There's still talk about, oh, we could do this very quickly though. But they're talking about, if it's bad to dig up a grave, it feels wrong and all that stuff, but they still have to resurrect Superman. And the Flash actually comments this time around that Superman is his hero, and that's why he is trying to be a hero like him. So that was nice. And also, before we actually just see in Joss Whedon's version, it was just the Flash and Cyborg talking to each other, and that was it. But here it turns out that Aquaman and Wonder Woman were actually there the whole time near the van, and they're talking about their races, like the Amazons against the Atlanteans. Arthur doesn't like the Atlanteans anyway, so he has no grudge, and Diana doesn't believe in grudges. She says that the hate is worthless and stuff. So yeah, there's some good dialogue here. And then we get a speech with Alfred and Bruce talk about resurrecting Superman, and that's when Alfred is talking about do not charge at a raging bull by waving a red flag in front of it. So he's worried that something wrong might happen. Then we get in the break into Star Labs. This scene got extended since we see more of Victor Stone's father, trying to get people out and all that stuff. So that was extended. I'm not sure if you would keep it, but I guess it would explain that why the people are still there anyway, or why people aren't there. I mean, But yeah, so that part's extended, and then they get into the Kryptonian chamber. So that's still pretty much the same. And then we cut back to Lois Lane, who wakes up and she takes a pregnancy test. So yeah, she's pregnant with Superman's baby. And then we see her later on taking coffees from a coffee shop to give to the police officers, because she actually did that in the beginning of the movie. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. And she wants to, I think she just wants to say goodbye to Clark one last time so she could try to move on. So it was a touching scene, but at the same time, I was like, wow, what a coincidence that Lois Lane just happens to be in the area right where they're about to resurrect Superman. Because in the Joss Whedon version, Batman keeps saying, oh, don't worry, there's a contingency plan in case if Superman goes rogue. Don't worry, I'm going to bring in the big guns. So he keeps mentioning about the big guns. Alfred, I'm going to bring in the big guns, bring in the big guns, big guns, big guns, big guns. And that what turns out to be Lois Lane to calm down Superman. But here, Batman didn't do any of that. He didn't. And also the dialogue is different too, because Aquaman keeps telling people that, listen, this is a bad idea. We shouldn't resurrect Superman, because they keep getting warnings from the ship. And I believe that was Carla Gugino. I gotta double check the IMDb credits. I believe Carla Gugino is back as the voice of the Machine, unless that's some other actress. And Aquaman keeps saying, this is a bad idea, we shouldn't do this. But Batman's like, no, we gotta do this. Don't worry about it. We gotta do this. Yeah, we have to do this. So that's different from Joss Whedon's version. And then we see Cyborg get a vision. Similar to Iron Man getting a vision of everyone dying. But this time around, it's Darkseid killing basically everyone. Like, he killed Wonder Woman. You see her grave. She's on the bonfire with the coins on her eyes. And the Amazons are basically taken over by Darkseid. You see the ships in the background. And then we see Darkseid killing Arthur and using the Omega Beam or the Omega Ray to kill one Atlantean. So that was pretty cool. And then we see Superman holding a skeleton, a bird skeleton, who I believe is Lois. And I'm not sure if that meant that Darkseid killed Lois and now Superman is working for Darkseid, or he's being possessed or something like that. But I'm pretty sure that bird skeleton is supposed to be Lois. And now Superman is evil. He's holding up the mask of Batman, which means that the nightmare of Bruce, getting killed by Superman actually becomes real. We see the fall of the Justice League. Everything's a desert. We see the ships of Apocalypse and stuff like that. We see all that happening. And then, and the thing is that the Flash keeps saying that he can't go too fast because he might accidentally go back in time. And you actually see this power this time around. Like, yeah, the running to charge up the mother box is basically the same from Joss Whedon's version. But this time around, you see that the mother box actually fell into the pool. And then because the Flash is going so fast, it actually went back in time to go right above the pool, the Genesis chamber. So yeah, he got a charge, and Superman is resurrected. We see the giant hole in the ship, and then we have basically the same fight from Joss Whedon's version. That Superman doesn't know who he is, and he fights off the Justice League. But yes, it's basically the same fight, but the color grading is definitely different, and the pacing is different. And I am so glad that they still have my most favorite scene from Joss Whedon's version, where the Flash enters the Speed Force trying to flank Superman, and Superman slowly looks to his side and slowly sees the Flash, and the Flash is like, holy shit, with his awkward looking face. He's like, oh my god, what the fuck? And then Superman is as fast as the Flash. That was my most favorite scene in Joss Whedon's Justice League, and it turns out that was Zack Snyder's scene. So I am so happy about that, because I was a bit worried. And I gotta say, I didn't say this at all during this whole time, but I gotta talk about the music. The music is so much better here. It is. Because you know what? Danny Elfman is a good composer. He is. But It was very distracting when you hear very familiar themes, like hearing the Superman theme during that fight between Superman and the Flash. That was so distracting. I know some people, they're like, oh, that is awesome. I hear the Superman theme. I get it. I honestly do. But for me, it was so distracting that it ruined the moment for me. Like, this is not the same Superman. So what's the point of hearing that music too? And also hearing the same Batman theme that the Danny Elfman did for the 1989 film. I mean, what's the point of this? I mean, sure, a nostalgia trip, fine, but these are not the same characters. They're different characters. It was very distracting. So that's why I did not like it. Here, Junkie XL did his own music and it was better. Honestly, better. I wouldn't say that the score is as amazing as his other works, like for Mad Max Fury Road, but at least I gotta say it wasn't distracting. It fit the action better, and I liked it. So, and they added a bit more to this fight too. So, in the Joss Whedon version, we see Superman seeing Batman for the first time, and he's like, I know you. And then he slowly goes towards him. But here, he sees Batman, doesn't say anything. He doesn't say anything. He sees Batman, wants to take him down. And then we see Aquaman and the Flash trying to stop him right there. And Cyborg trying to stop him too. And then he just immediately blocks them. And then he fights Wonder Woman by, slamming her head into the ground. Because in the Joss Whedon version, we only saw Wonder Woman trying to stop him. That was it. Everyone else was gone. So here, it felt like there was actually more. They actually tried to stop him before he tries to take down Batman. And in Joss Whedon's version, he grabs Batman and brings him... No, he slams Batman towards the car, into a car, and he takes up Batman by the chin and picks him up, and then it says the line, tell me, you wouldn't let me live, you wouldn't let me die, tell me, do you bleed? He says that, even though I did like the line from Justice League, Joss Whedon's Justice League, don't get me wrong. Here, he doesn't say anything. He just keeps using... He slams Batman into the police car. He uses his heat vision. Batman is blocking it with his gauntlets. And then Lois Lane comes in and calms down Superman. And then they fly away. Much better. I loved it. Way better than, in Justice League saying, with Batman saying, oh, Alfred, bring in the big guns. Bring in the big guns. Oh, my God. I think I'm bleeding. Oh no, something's bleeding. Oh my God. Awkward humor. Oh man. So, yep, it was much better handled, and this time we actually see Steppenwolf trying to take the mother box. So when the mother box came out of the Kryptonian ship, it fell onto a car, and Victor Stone's father, Silas, sees it, along with other people too. So he takes it and tries to bring it to the lab, doing something with it, trying to hide it from Steppenwolf, and then Steppenwolf comes and goes into the lab, and Silas closes the lab, which is right next to this laser that they keep talking about that heats things up very, very hot. So Silas basically traps himself with the mother box with the laser, and Victor comes in and sees that his father was about to sacrifice himself, and Silas presses the button, and it's basically like the same scene from Watchmen when John turns into Dr. Manhattan for the first time. Like he is exploding, getting ripped apart by the, I forgot what it's called, the radiation or stuff like that. I don't know what that machine did to turn John into Dr. Manhattan. You see a skeleton and all that stuff. So it's pretty much the same thing here. Silas presses the button, uses the laser, which causes the mother box to go all haywire, which sends lasers, which disintegrates everything inside the room, which includes Silas. And Silas is no longer there. He disintegrated. He is gone. At first, when I saw this, I was like, did he needlessly sacrifice himself for nothing? I was so mad because I actually like it's Joe Morton, man. He's from Terminator, Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I mean, he dies, and I was like, but in Justice League, he lives. Why did he die here? Why did he needlessly sacrifice himself? So I was getting upset. I was really getting upset. So Steppenwolf takes the mother box. The League couldn't stop him in time, and then it turns out that Silas uses the laser to basically create like a tracking beacon to find out where Steppenwolf would be. So that's why he sacrificed himself, so he could give the League a chance to find out where Steppenwolf is. So that explains it, because in the Justice League, they do talk about the energy that's coming from the mother boxes, you know, the amount of energy that comes, and that was it. There was no need for a sacrifice of anybody, and Cyborg was able to track it down. But here, it makes sense because Silas made that thing as hot as possible so they could find it because of the thermal energy. They could find it anywhere on the Earth. So that was cool. Okay. Oh, I talked about a lot before looking at my notes. Okay. Okay, so Clark and Lois arrives at the Kent house, and the dialogue is different here, even though it's basically the same shot. So when they arrive, Clark speaks, and he's like, I forgot what he said. He's like, "We're home" or something like that. I gotta double check. And Lois asks, Lois says, "You spoke." And he says, "Did I not before?" That's in the Zack Snyder version. In the Justice League, Lois says, "You smell good." And then Clark says, "Did I not before?" So here's the thing. I understand why Josh Whedon changed the dialogue for that, because it makes no sense. He spoke already in the fight against Batman and the League. You know, "I know you, you wouldn't let me live, you wouldn't let me die, tell me, do you bleed?" He spoke those words. So it wouldn't make sense for Lois to be like, "You spoke," even though he already spoke. So I get it. I do. But those lines were added by Josh Whedon anyway, with the horrible CGI mustache. So that's why I'm wondering, I'm very confused, because from what Zack Snyder is telling me, the only things he didn't shoot yet is basically the nightmare scenes. So, which means that the shot with Batman blocking the laser beam, the heat vision of Superman, and Superman not speaking at all, Josh Whedon was able to use that, and he decides not to. So again, I am defending on why he didn't use that line, but at the same time, I'm like, why didn't you just not have him speak at all? Why didn't you have the badass, scenes where Batman was blocking Superman's heat vision? That is really, really, really weird. And okay, so the League gets prepared. Victor is able to fix the Batplane by giving it a software update, and there's a bit more dialogue with Batman talking to Alfred that the Superman will be there, and it's basically the same shot of them getting inside the plane and Batman leaving Alfred behind and stuff at the lake. So it is the same scene, but the dialogue is different, and then we cut back to Clark and Lois, where Clark is in the field and Lois goes up to him, and he said, that's a yes. And he's talking about the ring, and he's talking about that he has to go away because he has to know why he got resurrected and stuff. So he's becoming Clark Kent again. He's becoming Superman again. And Martha Kent comes in. So basically, it's the same scene from the Justice League. And then we get to... And then we get to Clark going to the Kryptonian ship to grab a new suit, which is the black suit. But during the scene where he's going through the hallway, and you see the different suits, you see the Kryptonian Kryptonian armor, you see Superman's classic suit. And also I believe you see another suit as well. But during that time, you hear the actual the narration from both of his fathers, Jonathan Kent and Jor-El, and it was nice hearing that again. It was nice to hear Russell Crowe again. It was nice to hear Kevin Costner again. It was nice to hear the fathers talking to Clark Kent, Kal-El again, inspiring him again. I love this entire scene, you know, of him hearing his fathers, seeing the new suit, trying on the new suit, the doors open, revealing him in the black suit, which is basically the same shot from Man of Steel when he comes out wearing the suit for the first time, and then he slowly walks out while the dialogue of his fathers was playing, and look to the sky, you gotta fly, and then he does the same pose where he kneels, put his hand on the ground, and then you see the debris flying around him, and then he flies up in the air while the Man of Steel theme is playing, and then he does the Jesus pose, and yes, it's silly, but I enjoyed it. I fucking enjoyed it. Man of Steel is back. Superman is back. Henry Cavill as Superman is back. That whole scene right there is one of my most favorite scenes in this movie. I fucking love it. Mwah. I love it. I really do. And now we get to the finale, the final battle between the League and Steppenwolf. So it's pretty much the same thing. Batman wears the bat armor with the night owl goggles, and he rides the bat plane, and then he shoots a bunch of missiles and goes through the vortex and stuff. And here's a bit of a difference. In the Justice League, the bat plane crashes, but right before it crashes, Batman gets busts out of there while driving the Batmobile. But here, the Batplane actually crashes into the ground. There's still time, and then the parademons are trying to attack Bruce. So Batman gets into his Batmobile. The gate opens, and he uses the Gatling guns to shoot the parademons, and then goes out, gets out of the Batplane in the Batmobile. And then he's shooting everyone. The parademons are chasing him. The difference is that in the Justice League, it was implied, I guess, that he was actually suicidal. Like, Batman actually wants to be killed. He wants to die or something like that. Like, he was sacrificing himself. But here, no, he was just fighting. He was driving the parademons away, and the team finally meets up with him and also stops the parademons. Aquaman does say you're out of your mind, but there's nothing about, at least I didn't bring a pitchfork. There's nothing like that. No, there's no one-liners or anything like that. Even though some of the one-liners are different, where Cyborg catches Aquaman in the Justice League, he's like, ride ain't over yet. And Aquaman's like, my man. But in here, Cyborg says, you're welcome. And Aquaman still says, my man. So yeah, the action scenes are pretty much still the same, but again, it was edited differently, and also the color grading, oh my god. So in the Justice League, basically like tentacles that are pink, purple. It's like a different combination of those colors, pinks, reds, and purples. And it's terrible CGI tentacles that are terraforming the planet, that area, and it just looked awful. Here we have none of that. None of that. Yes, it takes place at night, but it's not dark enough to not see anything. It's still bright enough to see the action, and I loved it. And also, it made the fire look vibrant. Like, every time there's an explosion, it's like the most vibrant thing ever, and it focuses on it. It's very hard to tell about explosions in the other one because everything's so fucking bright. And also, everyone's suits look horrible under that lighting. I mean, what was the big deal with that? Especially with Superman, where you could definitely tell that he has padding in his suit. So what was the point of that? Anyway, so the fights are extended, the gore is extended. This kind of reminds me of Final Fantasy VII Advent Children in a way, where they have the complete edition and they added some new details of like, oh, there's blood on here, there's a little gore on here, and there's cuts and bruises and stuff like that. So it's kind of like the same thing of that treatment. So you see the parademons, their heads getting chopped off by Wonder Woman, they're getting sliced in half, they exploded, their blood everywhere and stuff like that. The gore is pretty cool. And yeah, sometimes the gore of the parademons is basically just like molten lava and stuff, but at least it looks better than seeing green goo from the Justice League version. And Steppenwolf bleeds like purple in that one too, instead of like red. So that was, yeah, I don't know what Joss Whedon was thinking for that one. I mean, I get it because it was supposed to be PG-13, so they're like, oh, let's do green. But at the same time, I was like, can't you just do black? I mean, at least black blood looks better than green blood, you know? The green blood just makes it look like Nickelodeon slime, and it's too much for kids. I mean, come on. You could have done just black blood. I mean, Lord of the Rings got away with that. I mean, and Lord of the Rings got away with beheadings too. That wasn't in the extended edition. They still had it in the theatrical edition with the beheadings, with the black blood and stuff like that. So why the hell didn't you show that, man? Oh my god. And that was PG-13. The Hobbit, the Hobbit Battle of the Five Armies had a rated R version where basically there's a lot of limbs being chopped off and blood everywhere. So that was funny. Anyway, so yeah, the action is better. The action is extended. Cyborg actually has some cool flying scenes as well, where he's flying and turning and using his laser guns to shoot down the parademons too. And we have this awesome like Avengers like group pose where Batman's in the Batmobile along with the Flash, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Cyborg just flying and jumping into the air for like a slow motion shot and then busting in through the building. That was freaking cool. And yeah, there's a lot of slow-mo in this, but it was really cool looking slow-mo. And then we get to Aquaman and Cyborg are the first ones to try to take on Steppenwolf. And then shortly afterwards, Wonder Woman joined in, and there's a tag team between the three against Steppenwolf, and that was really cool, dude. And yeah, there was an awkward slow motion shot of CGI Wonder Woman when he jumped over him. That was really noticeable. Cool, it is cool, but you could definitely tell it was CG because when you see her face, you're like, oh, that kind of looks like a PS3 model of Wonder Woman. But it's cool though. It's cool. It was distracting, but it was cool. But yeah, they were fighting them, and the Flash. Because there are no people to save this time around, the Flash is actually used to charge up, because the plan was that the Flash has to run around so much to charge himself up to help Cyborg, stop the unity of the mother boxes. So he's doing that the entire time while aliens are shooting him. And Batman actually does more in here than in Justice League. He actually shoots every single alien he sees. He shoots every single parademon with the laser guns. He even uses the laser turrets to help Diana out to get out of a scuffle too. And he's shooting everyone down. He's destroying the guns too with explosives. I mean, he's doing so much on the outside this time around. It didn't seem like he was an afterthought compared to just Justice League, because he didn't do much in Justice League. He fights like one parademon and that was it. Here, he actually fights everyone, and he was dodging lasers too, and using his gauntlets, and using the grapple gun. It was so cool. It was really cool. Batman actually fights. I am so happy about that. So, Cyborg has tried to do the mother box thing, and then, Wonder Woman and Aquaman, their fight scenes are a bit extended from Justice League, but it's pretty much the same thing. She uses the gauntlets to break down the bridge, and then they try to distract Steppenwolf. And in Justice League, Steppenwolf stops Cyborg twice. Like the second time he stops him, he breaks his legs off and stuff like that. But here, no, he's about to stop him the second time by slamming his axe down on him. But this time around, we get Superman. Superman, oh my god, Superman is a savage in this one. So, in Justice League, Steppenwolf breaks Cyborg's legs, does a little bit of a speech saying that, I forgot what he says, but he says something about the truth, and then Superman comes in and he's like, oh, I'm about the truth, but I'm also about justice. And then he punches him. But here, Superman stops Steppenwolf with the axe. Like, the axe hits Superman on the shoulder, and Superman just takes it like nothing affects him, and he's like, not impressed. And then he does his ice breath on the axe and shatters it immediately. That was so different from the Justice League, because Steppenwolf still had the axe by that point. Superman didn't even use his freeze breath yet, so that was really cool. And here's a good thing too. Yes, Steppenwolf lost the axe, but this time around, he's like, I don't care. He's still gonna try to fight Superman on his own. In Justice League, once he loses the axe, he was basically worthless. Like, he's done. He's like, no, I lost. No, like a crybaby. But here, no, he's still willing to fight Superman. So yeah, that was cool. And yeah, some of the slow-mo shots are still the same from Justice League, but the camera angles are different, and also it was extended too. And this time around, when Superman actually used the laser beam, his heat ray, he melted off Steppenwolf's horn. That was freaking cool. In the other one, he just, smiling, punching him, shoots him with the laser. Doesn't seem like it did any damage, and then he just throws Steppenwolf away. So yeah, he was kicking his ass, but Diana and Wonder Woman and Aquaman still helped Superman. There was this awesome tag team where Superman knocked down Steppenwolf into the ground, and Wonder Woman punched him in the air, and Aquaman hit him as well, and so Superman can punch him a couple more times, and that was so cool. I love the tag team. The tag team is so much better in this than in Justice League, and the shots are better too. Oh my god, everything is so much better in this movie. Okay, now then we get to cut to Flash being fully charged, and he's just waiting for Cyborg to give the signal. But before Cyborg gave the signal, Flash got hit with one of the lasers from one of the parademons, and it was too late. Flash lost everything. He lost his charge, and now we get to, honestly, a very cool moment. The Justice League lost. They couldn't stop the Unity. The Mother Box is fully formed. Darkseid is coming, and the Mother Box created a huge explosion which killed everyone. I was so shocked. I was like, oh, I thought it was just a bright light. But no, later on it's revealed that it killed everyone, including Superman. Because, he was completely disintegrated, and that was really cool. So, Barry used the Speed Force. Oh my god, Josh Whedon, you fucking did Flash dirty, man. I mean, you couldn't even have the scene, huh? You couldn't have the scene. The Flash enters the Speed Force, and he healed his wounds. Like, that was also cool, but he was able to run backwards in time. Back in time. And this whole sequence is phenomenal. I mean, wow, the visual effect is really cool. Him running, and he's talking about his father, that he's one of the best, and he's going to make his own future, make his own past. And yeah, this whole scene was fucking brilliant, man. I love it. I honestly love it. And the music too. This is one of the best scores for this movie. I mean, everything about it works so well. This scene was amazing. And also, the Flash isn't a coward. The Flash isn't a wimp. The Flash is actually the Flash in this movie. He did what he was supposed to do. He was useful, and he actually saved the day. So he went back in time, gave the charge to Cyborg, and Cyborg was basically fighting himself in a way, where the Mother Box is trying to trick him, and he was separating, and Superman helped him. And in the Justice League, Cyborg did ask for Superman's help, but they had some back and forth where Superman's like, oh, how big is the explosion? Oh, pretty big. Oh, good. I don't want to die today. Me neither. And there was that dialogue. Here, no. It's like, Superman! They separate the Mother Boxes, and that was it. There was no big explosion that knocks them back. There's no joke about, oh, my toes, how did I feel my toes? Nothing about that. No, they stop the unity. And then they kick Steppenwolf's ass. Superman punches him back into the portal. But right before that, Diana jumps up, uses the sword, and beheads Steppenwolf. And I was like, you had to cut that from Justice League, Josh Whedon? Are you fucking kidding me? You couldn't even have that? You had to have that stupid-ass lame thing like, oh no, my axe, oh no! And Batman's like, oh, do you smell that? That's fear. And the parademons are like chowing on Steppenwolf, and Steppenwolf's like, no, get off of me, blah blah blah. And then you just see his helmet fall down. No, we don't have that lame shit. We don't have any of that lame shit. Okay, we didn't. No. Steppenwolf is dead. Wonder Woman went for the head. Wonder Woman went for the head. She did what Thor couldn't do. Wow, that is hilarious. And what I love too is that Steppenwolf's head is back in Apocalypse, and Darkseid slammed his foot down on it so hard that the other horn of Steppenwolf broke off too. Darkseid is pissed, but he's like, I now know where the anti-life equation is, so he's gonna go conquer Earth eventually. So at least he wasn't sitting on his throne the whole time like Thanos is. And yes, they did show Darkseid sitting on the throne for like a couple seconds, so you do have your Thanos sitting on the throne moment. But at least he was walking around this time around, and he also, broke off Steppenwolf's horn, so that was cool. And actually, his vision, the vision of him actually did something instead of, the aftermath of what he did, so that was cool. Anyway, so then we get to this group shot of them on top of the tower. And it's the same from Justice League, but at least it was extended. Batman is climbing up on top of the tower. Superman picked him up, and then we have this group shot, and then we see the Batplane arriving to pick them up, and then we see the final group shots of them. And then we get to Cyborg repairing the tape recorder so he could hear the final words of his father. And in Justice League, Lois Lane gives the final speech, but here Silas gives the final speech, and it's way better. It's handled better. It was way better. Wow, the speech was way better. Even though the ending is pretty much the exact same from Justice League, like Batman buying the bank of the Kent house, so Clark gets the house back and stuff like that. But now we realize that Lois is pregnant, or might be pregnant. They didn't really specify yet, but pregnancy test has to be. We see that, and we do see a different scene with Aquaman this time around, because in the other one, Aquaman was still swimming in the ocean and stuff, but here he's on the surface. He talks to Mera and Volko by saying that he has to see his father, and that's it. Aquaman sees Mera on the beach, and that's it for Aquaman. So, right after Superman shows the black ass and then goes up in the sky, then we see Lex Luthor breaking out of prison. We don't see him break out of prison, but yeah, it's the exact same scene, end credit scenes from Justice League. But the dialogue is slightly different, because in Justice League, Zuckerberg, Lex Luthor was talking about forming a league of their own. The League of Villains. But or the Legion of Doom. The Legion of Doom. In that movie, but here, no, they don't talk about that at all. Lex Luthor just gives Bruce Wayne's secret identity away. He informs Deathstroke that Bruce Wayne is Batman, and it just stops right there for that scene. Then we get into the epilogue with the nightmare sequence. So we see Cyborg, the Flash, in his adult form with the mustache, and the Flash supersuit that he wore in Batman v Superman during that dream sequence, Batman, and the Deathstroke, and the interesting thing, Mera is in this. Like, Amber Heard is in this. And here's a weird thing too. I didn't notice it when Mera first spoke in Justice League or this one, but yeah, her accent is very different. Like, it's more like an English accent. Like, she's from London and stuff. So that was interesting, because she didn't speak anything like that in Aquaman. So That was really interesting. She still kept her accent. And I don't know if this the scene with Mara was. I know they shot with Joker, with Jared Leto's Joker, but I'm not sure if this footage with Mara is entirely new. So I gotta double check on that because I know the nightmare sequence is supposed to be new, but I'm not sure if they shot with Mara recently for this, with Amber Heard recently for this, because you know of all the allegations, all that stuff. So I'm wondering about that. Anyway, so Mara is alive. Aquaman is dead, of course, because we saw that. And she's angry at Batman for that. And then we get this dialogue, the back and forth, the exchange between Batman and Joker. And my God, Jared Leto's Joker is so much better here than he was in Suicide Squad. Seriously. Wow. What a huge difference. I mean, I like Jared Leto as Joker this time around. And yes, I did like him in Suicide Squad, like his interpretation of the Joker. He was entertaining, he was funny, but a lot of times while watching the movie, I felt like he was just a big distraction. Like he's not even important in the movie. Like the Enchantress is the villain, and the Joker was like just a cameo from what it seems like. I was like, what's the point of having the Joker in this? He does absolutely nothing important, you know, besides trying to save Harley Quinn, I guess, at one point. But yeah, he was not really important. He was entertaining, and I like some scenes with him, especially when he was imitating the Batman voice and he had the knives on the floor and stuff. That was my favorite scene. But honestly, Jared Leto could have been cut from Suicide Squad because he was not necessary. But here, the dialogue is great, and yes, you do get like the Heath Ledger Joker a little bit, but it is more adult dialogue. It's more mature dialogue, and hearing Batman say "fuck" is pretty entertaining. Like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. So that was cool. So yeah, I really like the dialogue, the back and forth, and I don't think he actually talked about we live in a society. I don't think he mentioned it. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he did not mention it in the movie. And I think that was only for the trailer. So I gotta double check on that, but I'm pretty sure he did not mention anything about we live in a society where honor is a distant memory. Isn't that right, Batman? I don't think there was any of that. And then we see evil Superman, and then the nightmare stops. Bruce Wayne wakes up, and then he sees Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter talks to him, saying that they're going to help each other for the battle that's coming up. And then that's basically the end of the movie. So I would say that my problem with the nightmare sequence and also the ending scene with Martian Manhunter, here's the thing. With the state of the DC universe at Warner Brothers and Zack Snyder. From what it seems like, Zack Snyder is basically done with the DCEU. Like, he's not continuing on, which I do not blame him. I honestly don't. If he just wants to stop at Justice League, you know, his version of Justice League, I do not blame him. Like, this, I honestly think it's such a good movie to end on for him. Like, it's like one of the best movies that he's ever worked on. So if this is it for him, I don't blame him. But that ending, though, with the nightmare sequence and also with the Martian Manhunter, I was like, it feels like nothing's gonna happen with that, you know? I mean, is Warner Brothers gonna be like, oh yeah, we're gonna continue on with Justice League 2, Zack Snyder's gonna be back, or if he's not back, he writes it, or his vision of it, and we're gonna have someone else direct it, but we're gonna focus on the nightmare sequence. Martian Manhunter is gonna be useful, and also there's gonna be more Green Lanterns. Ryan Choi is back as Adam and stuff like that. Are they actually gonna continue on with that? Because honestly, I feel like they're just making Flashpoint and then just reboot the whole thing where nothing happens, and then they just focus on solo movies, because that's what it feels like is gonna happen. I don't think Warner Bros. Is gonna do anything with this. Like, I don't think Zack Snyder's Justice League is gonna be made canon, because that's kind of the problem too. Because Shazam is takes place after Justice League, but honestly, after watching Zack Snyder's Justice League, I don't think Shazam might fit. Even though I really like Shazam, I really do, but part of me thinks that it might actually not fit at all. Because they're going with this kid-friendly vibe, which started with Josh Whedon's Justice League. Even though there are dark elements in Shazam, but I don't know. It kind of feels like everything changed. And if they're trying to make this one canon now, and Justice League doesn't exist, then they have to change a couple things. At least Wonder Woman 1984 is a prequel, so it has nothing to do with Justice League at all. So at least that's fine. But Aquaman is a little different. Even though it's basically the same, like, they stopped Steppenwolf and that was it, and you could continue on with Aquaman from there. But again, like I said, it's a little weird that they talk in clicks underwater, and they use the air bubble to actually speak in English, but they could still speak in English the entire time underwater in Aquaman, and also the eyes change color too and stuff like that. So yeah, I kind of feel like there's a bit of a disconnect, but I guess you guys could say that you could still connect them. It doesn't make a big difference. They're just little things. But I don't know. I'm not sure if Warner Bros. Is actually going to do anything with, the follow-up to this. So I'm really upset. I mean, it's cool. The Nightmare sequence is cool. Martian Manhunter is cool. But at the same time, it's like, I want more. But it feels like it's going to be an empty promise. Like, it's never going to happen. So that's why I'm sad. Like, I want it to continue, but I feel like it's not. Like, it's just done. It stops right here. If it does, that's fine, because Zack Snyder's Justice League is an awesome movie. It's one of my favorites. I don't know exactly how to rank this. Like, do I like it better than Man of Steel? Do I like it better than Batman v Superman? I'm still thinking on that. But to me, it's kind of like the Back to the Future trilogy. Like, every movie, yeah, you could say the first one's better, second one is worse, blah, 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 blah. But it feels like it's a trilogy. Like, everything is important. Same thing here. Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's important. They're one third. They become a whole, and that's what it feels like to me. Like, this movie is so fucking excellent, and this is a great trilogy done by Zack Snyder. I understand if you guys don't like the other two movies or even like this one, and I get it, but for me, this is perfect. This honestly is. It's not like perfect, but that's what I mean. I really love this. I'm glad Zack Snyder was able to tell his story, was able to have his vision, actually have it released, and and it happens to be on HBO Max, and yeah, it was just a victory for his fans and a victory for him, and I'm really happy about that. Even if, and that's the thing, I kind of feel like this movie is going to be very important in film studies, at least. And I'm not saying that like the quality of the movie, it's really, really good and stuff like that. No, it has nothing to do with the quality of the movie. It's more about like the making of it, like the production troubles and all that stuff, and also how two different versions of the same movie, like, they're completely different. They feel like different movies. And so I feel like this is going to be very important to talk about in for film studies, at least. You don't have to say that about the quality. It's subjective. You could say you could like it, you could hate it, but at least the process and the history behind making this is really legendary. Like, seriously, the fact that the fans actually got this to exist is amazing. And yes, there are some fans who are really, really crazy. Like, wow, they are really crazy. And I get the problems about that, but the fact that they managed to pull this off is amazing. It's like Sonic the Hedgehog also. Like, when we first saw the designs of Sonic the Hedgehog, a lot of us hated it. I also hated it too. It just looked creepy, but it's Sonic the Hedgehog. I was going to go see it anyway. And I felt bad for the animators, though, because they tried their very best and tried to make an appealing hedgehog, but they completely failed. But it's not their fault, to be honest. But the fans rose up and with pitchforks and stuff and basically threatened. Basically. Which is bad, but at the same time, they actually stopped stopped the release of the movie, delayed the release of the movie so they could work on the effects to make Sonic look like how Sonic's supposed to look. And that's amazing. I can't believe that we live in an age where things like that are possible, that the fans could demand things and it can happen. And yes, fans can be crazy, and it really sucks about that, but you gotta admit, it actually works. And it's just impressive. It really is. And here's the thing about this movie. Do I think that this movie could do well in theaters? I'm not sure. Because it's 4 hours long. If they want to show this in theaters, either they gotta cut it down to maybe 3 hours or 3.5 hours, including the credits. I honestly don't know what to cut, to be honest. Because I really liked a lot of this movie. Well, I guess shrink down the truck driver scene by a few seconds. But yeah, and also maybe the singing scene. But again, like I said, I wouldn't know if I should cut it or not because I don't know the lyrics. But if you want to show this in its entirety in theaters, you got to have an intermission because it's very long. So give it like a 15-minute intermission so people could stretch, they could relax, they could go to the bathroom and stuff, That's what I think should happen if they try to release a movie like this in theaters. But honestly, I don't think it could ever work. I do want this movie to make money. So when is the Blu-ray release? Because I would buy this on Blu-ray, man. I would. I cannot wait for this movie to come out on Blu-ray. Yes, technically, this is a HBO Max original, which means it should be on HBO Max forever, so I could watch it digitally at any time. But I'm a physical media kind of guy. I would love to buy this on Blu-ray. So I can't wait for that. So yeah, this movie did the characters justice, literally justice. Everyone was done well. Cyborg, oh my god, Ray Fisher, I'm sorry, man. I'm really sorry. I feel bad for Ray Fisher. Seriously, I remember when Justice League first came out. I didn't mind Ray Fisher as Cyborg, and that was his first role, and I thought he did fine, but a lot of people said, no, he was awful, his acting was bad, Cyborg was a bad character, he was basically nothing. And when Ray Fisher was saying about Josh Whedon being a bad person, everyone told him, no, you just suck, man. I mean, you shouldn't even say bullshit about Josh Whedon because that was your first time role. You're not going to get an acting job after this. You just ruined your career, all that stuff. So there were people who are saying like that. Yeah, people still side with Ray Fisher, especially when we hear more news about what Josh Whedon did, especially against Charisma Carpenter and the fact that Michelle Trachtenberg, she can't even be alone with him and stuff like that. And even Sarah Michelle Gellar says that she stands with the victims of Josh Whedon and stuff like that. So yeah, we are hearing more and more bad things about Josh Whedon, but still there are some people who are saying, no, Ray Fisher's a terrible actor. It doesn't matter anyway. He's just demanding too much. He's a diva, all that stuff. But after seeing this movie and seeing how much of Cyborg they actually cut, including his backstory, wow, what a fucking disservice to both Ray Fisher and Cyborg. I mean, I want to know what Josh Whedon was thinking, or if that's Warner Brothers' decision to actually cut that. Wow, that is just awful. Like, Cyborg is the heart of the movie. He is. He actually is. When Zack Snyder kept talking about it, and now this is finally released, and we actually see what he meant, wow, it's awful. It's really awful what happened to Ray Fisher. It's awful what happened to Cyborg. This shouldn't have happened at all. And also, a lot of people are saying Josh Whedon is racist because of him cutting off Ray Fisher scenes and also cutting out the waitress scene as well too. So, man, Josh, what the fuck were you thinking? Also, cutting out some great Barry Allen moments, some great Flash moments. You basically made the Flash into a coward, into a wimp, into a horny dude. And all for that horrible joke of him landing on top of Wonder Woman and all this stuff, and also the awkward humor. Yeah, there's still some awkward humor with the Flash in this, but I felt like it was better handled here since there's not much of it compared to Justice League. Even though there are some lines I kind of like the Pet Cemetery line from Justice League, but I didn't want that here anyway. It wouldn't fit the Zack Snyder's version of the character here. But yeah, he did the Flash a big disservice too. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, why couldn't you have these scenes? And here's the thing: Josh Whedon didn't have to put in his additions. He didn't, because from what I'm hearing is that the movie's mostly 80% filmed already, and they just have to work on the visual effects and also the nightmare sequence. Some of it was not shot yet, so. Yeah, I mean, Josh Whedon, you couldn't take the best parts about this movie and just, cut it well? You can't do that? Why do you have to add in your own shit? It's just it really sucks. And here's the thing, guys. I'm not sure if I mentioned this at the beginning of this video because it's now 2 hours long. Oh my god, this is a long ass video. Okay. I can't believe it's even longer than my rant against Rise of Skywalker. Oh my god, I can't believe this. Anyway, I watched 6 hours of Justice League on Thursday. I watched Justice League in the morning, and then I watched Zack Snyder's Justice League during the afternoon, and I can't believe I spent 6 hours watching Justice League in a day. That is intense. I deserve an award for that. Anyway. It is time for me to end this because it's already going too long. I need a cut of this. I need a Josh Whedon cut, maybe. Shrink it down to 1 hour. So this is my version of the Zack Snyder's Justice League review. So yeah, this is my movie talk, guys. Let me know in the comments below if you like the movie, if you hate the movie, what are your favorite scenes, what are your least favorite scenes from Zack Snyder's Justice League. Which do you like better, this version or Josh Whedon's Justice League? Let me know. Guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Later.